Hello and welcome to Create the Flow. I'm Monica Freeman, host and founder of Monica Freeman Studios and Unewell. I am here to guide you in aligning with your soul's purpose, trusting your inner voice, and building a life that you truly love. You were born with a purpose, and your intuition already knows the way. Hello, my love. Welcome to the show. It is so early in Los Angeles right now, and I woke up and had to come on to the podcast immediately and just talk about something that we discussed in a group coaching call yesterday because all the different questions that I got asked about content and content creation didn't really leave my mind. So, to give you a little visual of what this morning looks like for me, if you have been following me on social media for a while or been a part of this podcast for a while, then you know I converted my garage into a studio for filming and podcasting. And it is freezing cold right now because there is no control temperature. So I have to either turn on a space heater or an air conditioner in the summer and regulate the temperature in here periodically. But since I'm not in here all the time, I don't do that until hours before I'm coming in here. So let's dive into today's episode and hopefully I can keep it together as I freeze over here. Okay, so yesterday I was speaking with a group on a coaching call, as I mentioned, about content creation in 2026 and how the landscape of creating content has shifted. And what's interesting is I have been coaching for so long now, more than a decade. And obviously, you all know I've had a done for you service where I did social media management for years. So, because of this, a lot of my clients were referred to me, and a lot were people that I knew through networking events and stuff like that. So I never had to actually have a solid content marketing strategy myself and have to create on social media myself. For me, my social media presence has always just been post whatever I want and enjoy content creation. However, my frustration and the way that my clients were feeling yesterday on our group coaching call was when I would be working with a brand and there was pushback in what they wanted to post versus what the market was dictating. And now, fast forward to a new year, a new landscape, and everything is shifting so fast. And I thought to myself, it really is imperative that not only are you so authentic in your messaging, but that you understand the landscape of content creation in 2026. The best way I can just dive into this is to imagine that you are a co-creator with your audience. So you are not necessarily trying to prove anything. You're literally creating with your audience. But your expression, your actual authenticity, your personality, your brand has to land with that co-creation. Instead of trying to force whatever your message is to try to sell your offer, whatever that product or service is, you have to be malleable in your content creation process. And you have to listen to your consumer. So whoever that audience is, you have to listen to them. You have to study your metrics, whatever the analytics are telling you, really study that data. And then you have to test that and tweak that and adapt that until whatever your audience wants, your co-creator wants, lands. That does not mean that you shapeshift and you become somebody else. It means that you are observing what feels right to them and you're refining based on that. So a lot of times we get really frustrated because we think we're spending all this time coming up with the perfect idea in this ideation phase, and we are trying to create and trying to speak to somebody with passion, and we're so articulate and we have this beautiful piece of content, and then it doesn't land. But it's because we're not doubling down on resonance. We're not actually getting that emotional connection. I know when I work with brands, and this may be you, they do not want to be lenient in their content creation process. They want to have a specific aesthetic, a specific trending song, a specific hook. They are so stuck in their own ways, for lack of a better word, and they're not willing to refine what their piece of content looks like because it doesn't fit their grid, or it doesn't fit their vision, or it doesn't fit whatever is easiest for them. But you have to be malleable in the content creation game, because the one thing that we know for certain is that creativity as a whole and this co-creation with your audience is always changing. Things are moving so quickly. We've got AI now. People are doing so much stuff. It's really hard to get the attention of anybody. So you have to really be able to move with the culture without burning yourself out. And the biggest part, without getting stuck in your ego. Because our ego loves to control the show. It loves to say, this is the only way. But if you really want to build a legacy brand and you want it to feel holistic, so we're thinking generational wealth, longevity, you cannot be rigid. You have to be adaptive. And that's really what today's show is all about. A lot of people on the call yesterday felt like they had shame around the rejection that they felt because their content was quote unquote bad, or it wasn't working, or they thought it should have performed better. What I want you to hear from me right now is 9 out of 10 times, there is nothing wrong with your content. It is great. It's better than great, but it's got to come from a different angle. You can speak the same thing from a different angle. And that's why I think people focus so heavily on hooks, because that hook is that immediate sense of what this piece of content is all about. I was trying to explain to my clients yesterday on this coaching call that once you actually get people to trust you, so once you play into the game, if you want to call it a game, once you're malleable enough to really attract your consumer, you can get so many eyes on your business, attract your dream clients, and then you can start shifting to what works for you on your own terms. And that's what I like to call the earned or achieved creative freedom. And you know when you've seen this before because you'll start following a brand. Let's say you find a creator who you love, or a coach that you love, or a brand that you love, and they've been posting a specific type of content and you love that content. That's why you started following them. But all of a sudden, maybe 3, 6, 9 months, 2 years into following them, they pivot. It's because they laid the foundation for you to trust them, for them to build a community within that trust, for them to gain loyalty. But once they have that, they can post on their terms. It's really an earned right. So I want you to try to reframe your content process from, this is the only way, I'm not good, there's so much shame and resentment for other people doing it right, and frustration and burnout. I want you to try to think of it as an experiment and not attach your ego, like really allow yourself to adapt without losing your authenticity, because you don't want to lose your brand's voice or your brand's creation. But you do want to build longevity. And unfortunately, part of building longevity is becoming strategic in your process, is growing with the demands of the market, is being malleable. As I'm speaking to my clients, I resonate with some of the things that they're saying, because I know after working with so many people over the last few years, how attached we are to our content styles, to our messaging, to our branding. I know what that feels like. But if you could find that excitement, that curiosity, that level of detachment, but curiosity in the creative process, and enjoy that again without the pressure of having to perform, it's going to feel so much more authentic and organic. And that's really what I teach in my business, is how to do things holistically, because when I burnt myself out trying to do all the things, fit into all the boxes. It was exhausting. I'm not here to be everything for everybody. I'm here to co-create and deliver that. And that's essentially what we're doing with social media. We are here to co-create with our audience and deliver the message that they want. At the end of the day, the value, the offer, the service that we provide is service. It is serving somebody else. So we have to pay attention to what they want. I think when you can take performance out of the equation and start just being real again, you build trust and it feels so good because it's organic. And that is truly the heart of content creation. So stop thinking so hard about what topic to post and exactly how to show up online and how to be perfect. Just put stuff out there that feels good and keep co-creating with your audience and allow them to dictate to you what they want more of. Pay attention. Pay attention to the tone of your voice. Pay attention to your cadence and the tracking of your editing. Pay attention to what you're wearing. Pay attention to the captions. Pay attention to the audio. Pay attention to everything. Study every little thing and start to see where you have a common thread and keep doing more of that. So if your analytics skyrocket when you're doing a face-to-camera talking head video with maybe some choppy text, do that. But if you have more of a storytelling cinematic feel and you're moving, transitioning, and you have different camera angles, do more of that. If carousels are performing better for you and reels are not, double down on carousels. Take an audit of your business and start to look at this as fun. Make it a challenge for yourself in a fun way of how can I co-create with this sort of invisible partner on the other end? Try to take the frustration out of this. I know for me, as just a creator who's been doing this for brands for over a decade, the fun part for me is the creation. It is the ideation. It is the storytelling. It is being the brand voice. But it's also being adaptable, being malleable, and being able to experiment. So take what you need, leave what you don't. This is 2026. You create your own rhythm in 2026. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you'd like more information, you can follow along on Instagram at Create the Flow Podcast or find me personally at Monica Freeman. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a review and share it with a friend.